You can absolutely conquer whatever it is you choose to confront. In this show, we talk PTG, we listen and believe, we support and empower. Whether you have experienced domestic violence personally or not, someone you know has. Your circle of family, friends, acquaintances, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience domestic violence at some point in their life. Physical abuse is only one of the many forms of domestic violence. Survivors also report experience of verbal, emotional, spiritual, sexual, financial, electronic, and so much more. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It can leave you traumatized and devastated, mentally, emotionally, financially. You can find yourself homeless, jobless, helpless. The list can go on. There's blankets of insecurities, triggers, doubts, and other residual effects that become hurdles that impact our life as we do our best to move on. Many people associate butterflies with a sense of freedom. We've been taught along the way to focus on the transformation that takes place inside of the cocoon. I invite you to take a moment to conceptualize all the odds the caterpillar was up against and needed to defeat in order to get to a safe place, to build its cocoon and actually experience the transformation. My name is A. Garcia. I am a mother and survivor of a double attempted homicide. Now, I'm dedicating my life to take yours to the next level by experiencing post-traumatic growth to begin a new chapter in your life. Let's get started on this journey together. Confronting Domestic Violence is a 501c3. All contributions, volunteers, and sponsorships are welcomed. It takes a community to make a difference. Nobody should suffer alone. Please scan the QR code. Hey, Garcia here, and thank you for tuning in. What we cover here is not intended to ignite any triggers. For what you want to conquer, you must confront. Welcome to Confronting Domestic Violence. Today, I have Diana to introduce, and we're going to talk about her journey in helping to live a healthier, happier life despite the trauma experienced. Many of times, another person's experience can become a life-saving resource for someone else. She is willing to openly share her experience and how she goes through her journey still to this day. Please welcome Diana. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ekabe. Thank you for your listeners and everybody that will be watching after this live. Yes, my name is Diana, all the way from South Africa, and I am so blessed to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. We're blessed to have you. And Diana and I have actually talked before. I was a guest on your podcast, and
yes.
Oh my gosh, there was just such a connection. And I'm so happy that we are reciprocating and giving back. And I believe that like-minded people find each other and continuously build each other up.
Yes, definitely we did.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do. So let's get started. Where would you like to begin sharing your experience and journey? I will leave that to your comfort zone.
Oh, you know what? There is a question that people always ask those that they interview. They say, what would you want to talk about? Or they would say, who are you? And I always say to people, I see myself as a conqueror, a victor, a survivor of all that has happened to me. And I always want to say, I am happy, even though the happiness is not that I enjoyed what happened to you. But I say this because whatever happened to me has prepared me to be who I am today, the creative leader I am today. I'm going to start my journey from a year 1995. I was a professional working from a department of health. I was well paid. I had a private practice as a therapist. I was comfortable with my life, and my family's lifestyle was the one I envisaged. But not knowing that within a minute, things can turn around. In that year, I was highly pregnant. One night, as I was sleeping, I was woken up by a sharp pain on my chest, more in between. I didn't understand what is this pain all about. But before I can make sense out of it, I was already throwing up. I was already getting confused. I didn't know what is really happening. My head was spinning. I got out of bed, but I couldn't reach even the door to try and open. I fell to the ground. Fortunately, my handset phone was not far from me. I grabbed it. I dialed a number of a friend. Those connected phones that we used to not the cell phones. I managed to dial the number and she picked it up. I just say, hurry, help me. And definitely that was it. What happened beyond that, I couldn't tell. I fell unconscious. The next time I woke up, I was in hospital. What they diagnosed me with was I had a preeclampsia. It's a condition that happens to a woman who's highly pregnant but suffered high blood pressure. And at that moment, I was not in any control of some sorts. I'm going to link this with what you just said, domestic violence. I'm going to link the situation I'm telling you about. For the good 3 to 4 weeks in hospital, ICU, in and out of surgery, because my wound, because it was an emergency cesarean section, they had to remove the baby to try and control the seizures, the vomiting, the unconsciousness, because I was drifting into coma. The procedure is to remove the baby so that they can control the high blood pressure. Despite that, my situation worsened. My area of cesarean section did not heal. It was oozing pus, blood. My stomach was swelling. It was becoming hard. So it was a situation whereby they are trying to control the blood pressure. They are trying to control the swelling. They are trying to control infection. At the same time, every doctor that was to be there had to be there. So it was traumatic. Linking that story with the why I found myself in that situation. As a married woman, you want good things. You want a stable family. You want life to move smooth. But I had an underlying problem that nobody ever knew about it. Me and my partner were having issues that relate to infidelity. It was a standing issue in the house. I could not take it. It was emotionally so traumatic. Despite the money I was making, the good things I had, but there was infidelity. We were forever in fights about that. That resulted in us not planning together anymore. When you don't work together, you don't plan together, things started falling apart. And because of that, Can you imagine? I wasn't happy. I wasn't sleeping well. I was working long hours. I wasn't eating well. I was highly pregnant. I had no support. I suffered emotional trauma, especially after you're married and you have been in a relationship for almost 8, 9, 10 years, and you trusted your partner, and you have a good plan for what is coming forth, but all of a sudden, you have a third force. I could not believe it. I denied it. I spent sleepless nights blaming myself for things that I had no control about. And that was traumatic. And the sickness itself, when I was in hospital, time and again, when I come out of coma, immediately he comes to visit. The moment I see him, I think I reacted emotionally. Then I would drift into coma immediately. It was difficult. It was difficult. So up to this, where we are, I feel it's very traumatic to whoever will be listening. I want us to take a few minutes break, close our eyes, silence the noise around us, and just focus in the who you are as created by God. Imagine yourself when you were 16, 17, 18, that age where you had all the good things about who you want to be in future. What is it that you envisage, the vision you had, the childlike vision where there was no disruption of some sort? I want you to go there. I want you to keep quiet and see that person. I want you to sing that song silently that you used to sing and it makes you happy. And my song would be humming a worship song. Let's hum that worship song. I want you to see that girl. I want to see that young man. I want to see him happy with no disruptions. Just be you with all what you wanted to be. Just enjoy that stage. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Wow. That was so beautiful.
Thank you. I'm doing this because we all have a dream. When we grew up, we all had dreams. When they asked us at primary level at school, when your teacher asked you, what do you want to be in the future? You had it. You knew it. But somewhere along the line, it was interrupted. And it was interrupted. Mine was interrupted. I want to take you further outside that interruption. After being discharged, given strict orders for bed rest, because it was a situation where they could not keep me because the environment itself was no more conducive for me to be there. I needed to change the environment. When I went from the hospital with a strict condition to stay in beds, remember, I was working full-time. I was having a private practice that I do over weekends to augment my salary. I had to stop working from my day-to-day job, 7 to 4. I had to stop my private practice. Now, the salary, the income has to come down. I could not afford things that I used to afford. And my hubby was not working like from home every day where he comes, or every weekend. He was working a little bit far from home. He would come home over the weekends or end of the month. And the salary that he had, together with my salary, was not enough. And hence, remember, when you have issues of infidelity, they affect your finances. There's a lot of other activities that consume the income that you don't have control over. I had started experiencing the service providers, the debtors. They started phoning. You didn't pay your account, you didn't pay your car, you didn't pay your house. All these things started coming. Remember, I am to be at rest. I don't have to worry about the rest, but by virtue of being the person who was bringing more, and I had debts, they are forced to call me. I can't rest. Therefore, I am bombarded by all these people who are knocking at my door. Some who are saying, no, sign this document, because if you don't pledge that you will pay, we are going to take over, whatever. And at that moment, he's not there. He is no more. He is somewhere else. And remember, when you are so sick, you can't even be intimate to anybody, because the first thing is about your survival. So what does that do? It continues to open that door. And I suffered emotionally also relating to that area. I started not sleeping again. Insomnia crept in. I struggled. I am sick. 3 months down the line, they started repossessing furniture. 3 months down the line, a car is being repossessed. The salary is so small now, everything becoming, you can't afford. You are getting so distracted. In no time, my house was owing. 3 months, you try to cover up, you can't cover up. I can't wake up and go and add something from the outside and get some more money and work with clients anymore. I can't. They're repossessing everything every day. So in 6 months' time, I found myself on the streets, evicted from my home. My other house that was used to be a business, income generating, was also repossessed. So I found myself on the street. What do? You relocate to the rural home. Fortunately, in our country, we still have what we call our rural homes, where you grew up, where resources are so scarce. In other areas, there's no electricity. is home. And you move your children from the good schools. Now they must relocate to rural schools where the medium of instruction is even different. They change a lifestyle. Now, that is another level of trauma, disbelief. You are at a different place altogether. The shame comes in, the anger comes in. You blame yourself. Everything just comes flowing. To cut matters short, I had to do the unthinkable. I had to leave my children in rural homes to come back and continue working far from my children, where I don't even see them every day. I had to go to work while my blood pressure was still so elevated. I risked my life. And still on that, I faced, when I was pressing on, when issues of infidelity, I faced a situation. Now I am blamed for being far. I am blamed for all what happened. I am blamed for the loss of property, for the loss of everything. Even my children were starting to grow up now. They are starting to realize that this is not the life we've been living. They started going to the street and having friends, not coming home in time, because now the situation is different. So I had to manage the children, manage the husband, manage the home. I don't know how I survived that. I don't know how I survived that. But there is a saying, there is a quote by Bill, I forgot his surname. He says, "We are all born brilliant, but we sabotage our brilliance by the average. We perform averagely because we take who we are and submerge it into a problem and surrender our power and let go of who we are." When we go to the Bible, in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 26 down, it says, after God says, "Let's make man in our own image and likeness," he says, "Let's bless them. Let them be fruitful and multiply." And in that paragraph, there are some key words there. Making man in our own image. It says we are the image of God. The who we are, that we should never let go, is the key of what brings healing. When I was in that situation, while my head was spinning, while I was trying to get healed so that I can go back, there was always something in me that would see this little woman or little girl that I said, "You must see." When I was doing that exercise of closing your eyes, I would always see myself there. I would always remember what I said when they asked me, "What do you want to be?" I would always bring that young woman back. And I said to myself, I have not lived that woman yet. I'm not going to allow that woman to disappear. And I know who I am, and I can do it. I know what I carry within me. I am the image of God. And what I carry, I haven't given it out to the world yet. I held on that one. I refused to lose focus of who I am. I refused to let the chaos that was happening around me distract me. I always wanted something better. I always said, I will do it. One day I will do it. One day I will come up and do it. And with that consistency of believing who I am and trusting that there is a superpower, there is some supernatural power that I may not be able to touch, but I feel it. Something within me is greater than what is happening around here. That was my faith. I didn't know at that time. But I can tell you, faith is not the absence of fear, because fear, it just replaces the faith. Then it dominates the space. But I love my Bible because the word of God says in the book of Philippians 4, I think, verse 6, do not be anxious for anything. In everything, pray about it and give thanks to the Lord. Have hope, have faith. As you are healing, remember who you are. Because you can never heal unless you know exactly who you are, what is it that you carry, and why are you carrying that? Why are you still here? Some are gone, but you are still here. And that package, it propels your faith. And when the moment you start realizing, you are able to heal. You heal because you are able to see yourself beyond that situation. You don't heal because the situation is still dominant. But the moment you pass the stage of saying, I acknowledge my problem, I acknowledge that my spirit, my mind, my physical are no more in sync. Something is going on. I don't operate in sync anymore. I've lost balance, but I'm prepared to come forth. Indeed, you are starting to come forth. And you are starting to change your perspective. You start seeing your problem from a different angle. And the part of the healing is to say, I acknowledge my problem. I visualize where I'm going. I don't allow it to cloud my vision. But I'm looking forward. I'm focusing on where I'm going. And that's all what I did. I started digging into the who am I? How can I make it despite this situation? How can I come back? And fortunately, as they say, when you start focusing in the God within you, the problems just disappear. It's like light. When light comes into the darkness, it doesn't negotiate. It comes in and darkness disappears. And that's what I started doing. I had to dig into who I am. And the only way to know it was through understanding what God said about me, God's promises about me. Why am I here? What did God want me? They always say you are created to solve a problem. You are not a mistake. There is a project that is waiting for you. If you want to know, you ask the manufacturer, your creator. Doesn't matter what you call him. We call him different ways. But immediately you start asking him, say, but why am I here? Who am I really? Show me, who am I? He will lead you. he led me to reading the Bible, understanding the word, getting God's promises, surrounding myself with people who supported me, people who loved me. The lack of support from home did not become elevated and become bigger than the love I got from the people I started interacting with. In fact, I lost focus of the problem. I started looking forward. In turn, the whole situation now rallied to go and see, why is he no more focusing on us? Why is she focusing forward? That's how we win our war. I think up to so far, I can allow you to come in.
Wow. I have so many things to say in response. First and foremost, I had so many questions to ask while you were talking, but I chose not to interrupt you. I wanted to hear what you were saying as it flowed out because I can feel your energy and I felt the way you walked us through that experience. And I talk about post-traumatic growth all the time. Post-traumatic growth is where you become a stronger, more intelligent individual from the trauma you experienced, the devastation that you went through. When you go through such a traumatic experience, I strongly believe that it is embedded somewhere in us. Like you said, we were born with brilliance. We're born with the light. We do have it within us. And when we're at that moment of basically life or death, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically, we are instinctively going directly into survival mode because something in us is telling us, and we know it deep inside, wherever it's at, that we are not ready to let this kill us. And your journey is an epitome, definition to the T of post-traumatic growth. Listen to everything you shared and what you're doing today and how you are stronger and smarter and what you're projecting and sharing with others to help them also either mitigate that or have hope and faith if they're in that situation today. And what you said about, you know, in the beginning with the infidelity and the issues in the marriage, and that was such an emotional toll. And this is going back to mind and body connection. Your emotions were so crushed that you physically and mentally decided to cope with it by being that breadwinner, by helping other people, not realizing that you were so depleted yourself, but you were almost counseling yourself while you were counseling others, while you were giving others your joy, your subject matter expertise on how to be a better person, how to better cope mentally. And like you said, nobody knew what you were going through because in your mind, you believed that it was just emotional.
Yeah,
And it got to the point where it was so emotional that it clouded your intelligence. It clouded your logic.
yeah,
And with that combination, you then found yourself physically disabled.
yes,
And
yes,
when you said that when you woke up out of the in and out of coma, you went into a coma. This is extreme. When you went
yes.
into that coma and you woke up in and out of it, the moment you saw that man's face, it was an immediate trigger and you
Was
went
a
right
trigger.
back. Yes,
Yes,
but it was an uncontrollable physiological emotional shutdown that your
yes,
body went through
yes.
because it was so bad that your body couldn't even withstand another second of it.
Yeah, yeah,
And that speaks such volume of how you knew, but you didn't accept or realize, or you couldn't wrap your head around it,
Right.
how
Right.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
body went into fight mode, and the
Yeah.
only way it was able to survive was by completely blacking out.
Shut. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I also would always say that when God has a plan for your life, you can go to an extreme. You will always come back to his purpose. You have not achieved his purpose.
That's right. And you have superhuman powers that are unexplainable to the world. When you are in fight survival mode, you are able to do things that you would never even fathom that you can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And back to the book, you're not given more than you can handle, regardless of how much you feel that you're going to break. I
Definitely.
believe
Definitely.
Yeah, I believe that we're not given more than we can handle, that everything is for a purpose, whether we know
Mm,
it at that time or not, it will eventually show itself. And
definitely.
and I really want to hone in on when you said you were at a space where you're like, why am I here? Why am I alive? Why am I going through this? Why? And
Mm,
going back to we may not know why, but knowing who you are and going to those roots, or
mm.
even knowing who you're absolutely not. Either
Yeah.
one of those will
I
help
don't know.
lead you back. Either
Mm,
one of those will help lead you back to your authentic core.
yes, definitely. They always say adversity gives us experiences, it gives us wisdom, it gives us, it drives us to understand, to trust in the Creator, our God. It helps us to let go and let hold on something better than what we holding on. That is the environmental, the worldly things. It will allow you to center yourself and find out exactly why am I experiencing these things. There is a reason. And after I've realized, the moment I became wiser, I started not asking why. I said, what is it that you want me to learn from the whole thing? I no more blaming. I'm now wanting to find out what is it for me with this experience. And hence, God, through that process, allowed me to be the creative leader I am. I became a speaker because I was made to share my story as a process of healing. I took my challenges and make them to serve me, to help heal by sharing with women, by helping other women. Hence, I am in a position now to stand on a platform and share my story and motivate another woman. And the key for me is that don't fight what is happening. Acknowledge what is happening. Visualize where you wanted to go and take action. Take action. Doesn't matter how small steps. Take a step towards that vision. My step was, I'm going to start speaking, because the more I speak, the more courageous I become, the more confident I become, the more vocal I become, the more, I started being stronger and stronger. And from there, it led to another thing. God is ordering now your steps. From speaking, I took now the speaking, I became an author. Now writing about my experiences. And while still in the authorship, I end up producing 3 books where I am at the moment. 3 books. I'm going to share the phases now. The first one was prayers that get answers. That is the name of the book. Prayers that get answers. Because I believe God answers prayers. It doesn't matter whatever challenge you come into being, when you focus and go back to Him and say, why? What is it that is happening in my life? Where do you want me to go? He will order your steps. This is the cover page of the book, Prayers That Get Answers. It's scriptural. It teaches everyone, doesn't matter where you come from, know how to deal with your situation from a powerful position, as a position of power. Because as I was reading chapter 1 verse 26, it says, have dominion, authority, and power over all. Over all meaning even your situations. You need to know how to be powerful, how to work towards winning. But you can never win unless you have the knowledge.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to quote again another scriptural reading that says, do not conform to the standard of the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. When you start speaking, when I started reading, when I started encouraging people, my mind started being renewed. I started believing in myself. That pity person was starting to give away. That low self-esteem, that poor image was started giving away. I started trusting that I can do it. I have to take a step.
That's right. And I want to circle back to what you were saying about acknowledgement in any capacity, whether it's in a traumatic situation or the outcome of the beauty of the situation. As soon as you acknowledge something, that is your opportunity to make a choice on how you want to act upon it. And once you decide how you want to act upon it, I'm saying it all in one. Then you need to take the action after that decision. So it's that process. It's making the acknowledgement, taking that opportunity to make a choice, and then acting upon that choice that you're making. Because you only control you. You cannot control anything outside of yourself.
Definitely, definitely. And you also, the moment you acknowledge, it automatically tells your mind that you are not a victim.
That's right.
You are not a victim. Then, because your mind now starts acknowledging that you are not a victim, your emotions are starting to relax. You become calmer. You don't blame yourself. You don't blame anybody. Then you start wanting to take that choice, action. What do I do with the situation? Now comes the plans. You need to have a plan. Which one is the first step? Which one is the second step? Which one is the third step? To get out of the situation, to heal out of the situation. Do I see a professional? Do I see an elder? Do I talk to friends? Do I talk to other women? You are getting out of the situation by virtue that you acknowledged it. Then you start.
And what you're talking about, the support and the sacrifices. See, those also almost go hand in hand. As mothers, as women, as victims of and survivors of a form of domestic violence, we have the opportunity and the chance to figure out when we feel like there is nothing there and nothing left, whether it's resorting to a rural place, whether it's making sacrifices where we leave our kids for a few moments. It could be years when I'm saying moments. It's the sacrifices we consciously make, knowing that the intended outcome is to be better, provide better, show better, teach better, lead better, do better, all encompassing. And
Yes.
regardless of the opinions or the feelings that were
Mm,
hurt with the
mm,
sacrifices that we had to make,
mm,
nobody has to answer for us other than us. The choices
definitely.
that you make, the sacrifices that you make is for
Mm,
the betterment of those around you and most importantly yourself, provided that those are the decisions. Obviously there's plenty of decisions you can make,
yes.
but
Yes.
when it's for the better, those sacrifices will eventually turn into the beauty later
Yes.
because you took that one
Mm,
step at a time
mm,
in faith, reminding
mm,
yourself who you are, reminding yourself who you're not, and continuously going after that decision to walk
true.
down that path.
Yeah. So yeah, the issue, the one of my books, the third one, is called From Scrapyard to a New Beginning.
Where's the cover? I love it. Can you show the cover? Do you have it? I love it. Yes. Yes. Yes.
It says you can't get out of the junkyard or the scrapyard to a new beginning if you have not acknowledged that I am in a junkyard,
Yeah.
but I'm going to get out of here.
That's
So
right,
when I
because the junkyard, I'm sorry, the junkyard does not define you. The materialistic items do not define you. Losing the house, losing the business, losing the other revenue, losing that does not define who you are. Those are things that you build, and just like that car, it can still be restored.
can you see
Yeah.
how it's restored? It's beautiful now.
Yes.
But if this person or if it's a person would have stayed here, he would have rested, lost knowledge, lost self-esteem, lost personal image. You can turn into whatever the situation wants to turn you into.
Right.
But the moment you acknowledge, you take a step, look how it looks like.
Yeah.
You are back to the root. You could be back to the root. So that's
And
what I encourage women about, to say, it doesn't matter. You are, as you just said, that the situation you find yourself does not define who you are. You are more than your situation.
And as human beings, we can be restored tenfold mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, and so on.
And restoration is given.
Yeah.
We can be restored because it's a guarantee. It guaranteed that God said, I will restore all the years that the locust has eaten. Meaning you can come back even better than where you used to be.
That's right. And that's the post-traumatic growth that I talk about. Absolutely 100%. And it's so interesting that so many of us have it instinctively within us and don't even realize it. And
Yeah.
sometimes it takes for these traumatic situations for it to surface. And I appreciate you so much. I am so honored and privileged to have you on this platform with me today. And for all of the listeners that are tuning in to hear your story, I want to ask if you could summarize or come up with a very powerful wounds to wisdom statement for our listeners. You're a motivational speaker, you are an inspirer, you're a leader, you set an example, you set a bar, you're spiritual, you have faith. There's so many great things that you have to offer. And I feel bad asking you to summarize something into a wounds to wisdom statement, but something so powerful to leave the audience with and a place where they can find you. So those that are seeking help can find you and receive.
Yeah. I always say everybody, every one of us can be successful, or it is expected of us to be successful and prosperous. And when I say this, people will think according to the financial prosperity. No, it's not. Success is finding your seat, your God-given talent, your gifts. Sow them. Find a fertile soil. Sow them. Nurture them. Let them grow. Let them bear fruit. And share that fruit. And the moment you live your life according to your original design, you are successful.
That's right.
Doesn't matter where you are successful. And I always say, when you are successful, you are like a small piece of a bigger puzzle made of small pieces. But when you bring them together, it is not about the small or the bigger piece. It is about the picture, the whole thing.
That's right.
So my wound to healing process would be prosper and bloom where you are.
Within. That's right.
If you want to find me, I don't know if I'll be able to put my contact on a chat. I'm going to do it now. Let me see what I can do. I'm trying to put my email there. There is my email. And I'm going to put it, I've got a landing page.
Oh, yes.
The link, yeah. Are you able to see that link on the landing page where people can go? I will drop it there. They can go there. Yes, where they can go and buy my books via PayPal, via Yoko. Those two systems are working, and the books can be dispatched to their respective addresses. One-to-one coaching on the PayPal, there is a page where you can fill in your information because it has my email. It will come directly to me to set up an appointment for me on one-to-one basis with you to help you heal. You need to heal as a person. Therefore, as a life coach, I always say I am spiritual life coach, mentor, so that you can grow and be who God created you to be. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Again, this has been such an honor and a privilege, and I am so grateful that we met and that we connected and that you were on this show today for so many reasons and for so many ears, hearts, minds, and spirits to listen.
My pleasure. My pleasure. We are here to help. If God puts us on this platform to help whoever connects, I bless the Lord for that. And thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And just in closing, Confronting Domestic Violence is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to help real-time victims relocate to a safe place when they have one to go to, but not the means to get there. We do want to challenge policies and save lives, ultimately giving children a second chance and opportunity, because people like myself and Diana have made extreme sacrifices with our children, for our children, because there were certain things that were not available that this Confronting Domestic Violence, this nonprofit is looking to fill those gaps. So again, Diana, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Confronting Domestic Violence is a 501c3. All contributions, volunteers, and sponsorships are welcomed. It takes a community to make a difference. Nobody should suffer alone. Please scan the QR code.